with watching the most recent One Piece arc, one thought's come to my mind. Elbaf might be the best One Piece arc ever. When Elbaf first started, I felt I was getting hit with a blast from the past. It legitimately felt we were reading an old One Piece arc, like pre-time skip. A big complaint a lot of One Piece fans have with current One Piece is the fact that a lot of the characters are just imitations of themselves. So like Sanji used to be this cool guy who he would simp a little bit from time to time, but now he's just a full-on simp guy, and we don't really ever get to see the true Sanji. But that's no longer the case in Elbaf. We're getting peak interactions with the characters. We're seeing Zoro and Sanji hanging out in a way that we haven't seen in a long time. We're getting everything we need in a One Piece arc. First off, the lore. The lore in this arc is probably second to none. Like, you can go down the list and you could pick Marineford, or you can even do like Egghead. Those arcs had a lot of great lore drops, I'm not gonna lie. But Elbaf might have like 4 scenes that just broke the internet. So we had like the mural, which the mural might be the biggest reveal in One Piece period. We have Shamrock getting revealed. We have all the stuff with rocks. We have Loki. It seems like every 10 or so chapters, Oda's like, here's one more banger drop. And that's something that we kind of have to acknowledge. Now with the way Oda's dropping these reveals, Elbaf hasn't been mid. Elbaf has not dropped off in quality since it came out. One thing that happens with a lot of One Piece arcs is the beginning, like let's say first 20 or 30 chapters is kind of a slog. It's a little slow to get through, we gotta be honest. Especially Dressrosa and like Wano. Wano, bro, those first 30 chapters, I was almost sleepwalking. I was on autopilot trying to get through that shit. But Elbaf has not been slow. I'm trying to think about how Elbaf even started, but we're in the part of Elbaf that's supposed to be slow. But instead, we've seen our nigga Saul come back. We've seen Gunko. We've seen Loki. We got Prime Whitebeard in this bitch. Like, we have a lot of cool things happening. And this is like just the beginning. We're not even at the climax of the arc. We got to remember that we are in the flashback part of the arc. You can think about like when we got the Odin flashback, people kind of didn't like how long the Odin flashback was going on for, but I can't find anywhere on the internet where niggas complain about the Xebec flashback. In fact, people are just hyped because every single chapter, we get some new cool shit. We got the thing with Shocky and how important she is. That nigga Rayleigh, he got some upscale because that nigga bagged Shocky, that's tough. We see Blackbeard, and there's some stuff about does Blackbeard have a sister? He probably does, or at least a brother or a sibling. Every chapter so far has just been more discourse. Like, we haven't gotten that, I'd say, in an arc since maybe Marineford. Like, just being honest, we haven't got an arc where every single chapter is just peak fiction since. And then when you're looking at it, every character that's been introduced in Elbaf has been peak. Let's talk about the villain in this arc. As of right now, we don't really have a villain for Elbaf. Most other One Piece arcs, you can kind of see the villain by now, but I'm low-key capping right now because the villain in Elbaf is Emu, who's the biggest villain in One Piece. We see the arc kind of starts and it's all kind of leaning toward Emu. Like, we had a Shamrock pull up trying to recruit Loki. Xebec currently is running through God Valley trying to save his family, and it's all kind of in the shadow of Emu and the world government. We can all see it's building towards this nigga Emu. There is just so much shit about Emu that has to be revealed and acknowledged that it's gonna kind of blow our minds. We have the Gunko stuff, like what is up with her? Why can she get controlled in Broad or something? Then there's the stuff with the Davy Jones, like what is the Davy family? We don't know anything about that. The whole summoning circle shit, we don't even talk about it, but Emu has that too, and that's on Elbaf. Oh, and you can even acknowledge that this nigga Loki might join the Straw Hats. That's a whole subplot that we haven't even acknowledged. There was a point in Wano where every chapter people were like, who's gonna be the Straw Hat? Is it gonna be Yamato? Is it gonna be Momo? Is it gonna be Tama? It hasn't been an Elbaf subplot. Loki is in the corner and he could be a Straw Hat potentially. No one is talking about it. Not because it won't happen, but more because there's so much peak we can't even focus on it right now. We're not even in the part of the arc where the reveals are supposed to happen. Everyone knows in One Piece arcs there's kind of a formula. You start off with them first 20 chapters, like I told you, they're kind of ass. It is what it is. Just sit through it. Then we start to build up. We get the enemy and Luffy's gonna fight. If it's a big arc, every Straw Hat will have their own opponent and then they'll win, and that's kind of how it ends up, right? But the lore dump portion of the arc is more towards the middle / the end. We're kind of not there yet. We might just now be getting into it because, let's be honest, the flashbacks in the One Piece arcs are always way before the big final battle. This Xebec stuff is basically just the cherry on the top. We haven't got the crazy reveals of what's gonna happen. Like, what is Shamrock doing? What's Emu doing? And we don't even know when the Elbaf arc will quote unquote end, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the One Piece world that hasn't been talked about. Let's talk about the fact that Blackbeard might be looking at Garp right now, the frozen Garp. Like that's something we have to talk about. We don't even know what's happening at Marijoa right now. We know that they've been starved for the first time in years or even decades. I'm sure Imu's not happy about that. Law and Kid got their shit smacked by Yonko not that long ago. And the whole thing with Shamrock, like, where did that nigga even go? Shamrock was trying to recruit Loki and he was like, yeah, I gotta go handle some stuff. And he left and never came back. Outside of Elbaf, like the actual Elbaf city, or let's say the Elbaf country, a lot of stuff is moving around. It's going to shake up the whole One Piece thing. And speaking of shaking up the whole One Piece, can we talk about the other two Pirate King contenders? We got Buggy and we got Shanks. A lot of niggas hate on Buggy, but I don't know why I do that because Buggy's kind of the GOAT. But Shanks and Buggy are two pirates who are trying to be the Pirate King, both under Roger, have recently declared they're on the move. Shanks literally said, I think it's time we get the One Piece. And Buggy was trying to recreate Roger's line, talking about wealth, fame, and power. They are both on the move and they have insane crews. We all know this. At some point in time, we are going to have a crazy fight between the current four Yonko, and it's at least initiated in the arc of Elbaf. Just looking at Elbaf, there is so much to like. That's the thing too. Every time I've talked to a fan or a friend about One Piece, the first thing they say is, bro, you caught up? And I'm obviously like, nigga, yeah, I'm an anime channel. Of course I'm caught up. The next thing that they say is like, One Piece is fire right now. I feel like I have not heard niggas say that consistently since like the rooftop. We have been eating for like 6 straight months. We are low-key getting fat. I'm not gonna lie. I remember that I made a video about Thiggerl and Garling a couple months ago. This was like 6 or so months ago. We were in Elbaf then, and I think, honestly speaking, from that chapter to this chapter, I can't say that we have had a fall off. There hasn't even been a string of like 2 to 3 chapters where I feel like One Piece is boring. Every time the One Piece chapter comes out, I'm instantly jumping to read it. If you're not caught up on One Piece, now is the perfect time. There's not a better time to catch up on One Piece because we are in for a crazy ride. So it kind of started off with a flashback about Loki as a kid, and then we got Rocks, and then it became a Herald flashback, and then from Herald to basically straight up just Rocks. And since then we've gotten all Rock stuff, which again is something that we've always wanted to see. Pretty much since he was created as a character, when Sengoku mentioned him, we have been wanting and basically thirsting for more Xebec conversation. And Oda played no games, because the first time he brought up Xebec, he was like, Rocks D Xebec, father of Blackbeard, chapter end. Fucking insane. I don't think people were prepared for Oda to just drop that bombshell of a reveal and just keep on going, because that wasn't even like a, oh, Blackbeard's the son of Xebec, here's a 4-week chapter break. Like, no, we've been chugging along. We've seen a lot of cool stuff. One thing I do like about the Elbaf flashbacks, we've gotten a lot of Roger and that era of pirates conceptualized a lot better. It's a lot more interesting seeing their dynamic. It's kind of like a small glimpse of, if we had a One Piece prequel about Roger and stuff, this is how it would be, and I really have enjoyed that. That's another reason that Elbaf is one of the best, if not the best arc in One Piece already, because we're getting a lot of peak stuff. It's a lot of cool things that are happening, and we've gotten it from a bunch of different perspectives, which I think we don't usually get. Most times in a One Piece flashback, it'll get like one perspective. In Wano, we had the flashback about Odin, and everything was through Odin's eyes, which was fun, but it's just one perspective. First, it was Loki's perspective completely. Then we switched to Herald. Then it's been like Roger / Xebec, and then in this current like last couple chapters, it's been all through Xebec. And then in this current section of the flashback, we've gotten everyone's perspective. We've heard Rayleigh's thoughts. We've heard Whitebeard's thoughts. Everyone's kind of thought process. And I almost forgot, we got Dragon. I don't know how I forgot that shit. We probably heard more of Dragon's thought process in this last 10 chapters than we've ever gotten in the 1,000 chapters of One Piece, just straight up. A lot of people have obviously theorized that Dragon was going to be a Marine, and it's not a crazy reveal that he is. It's surprising, but it's not crazy. But I don't think people were going to expect that Dragon single-handedly made 2 Yonko who they are, and that's Shanks and Blackbeard. Like, no one thought that was going to happen. We're already getting things that we never expected. It feels like this one flashback is the trickle down for 40 straight years later. It feels like this flashback is the reason Dragon's the way he is, the reason Blackbeard's the way he is, Shanks, Roger, Whitebeard, Rayleigh, Shocky, Xebec, even though he's dead, even Emu. It feels like this One Piece arc, or this One Piece flashback specifically, is giving us everything we need to know about the old generation. I'm not gonna lie, bro. If you're not in this flashback and you're over 40 years old, you're just not good. I'ma stamp it, bro. Elbaf will be the best arc in One Piece when it's done. That's my opinion. Now, will it fall short? It's possible. It might not be better than Marineford or Water 7, but right now, it's on a trajectory of the best arc ever. And I think we just have to acknowledge it, because we are seeing a manga in his bag, and this is a manga who's always in his bag, and he's still in his bag among bags. If you're already reading Elbaf right now, keep doing the good work. You know what I'm saying? You're doing the Lord's work right now. But yeah, that's all. So I'm out. Peace.